Welcome to this video. My name is Rajveer, founder of Code and Compile, and in this video, I'm going to talk about Visual Factory. Visual Factory is a concept where technology meets clarity. Most of the time when you're on the shop floor, you have seen we have HMIs, we have dashboards where we are monitoring some signals, some alarms, some messages, or maintenance messages, or how the system is working. But let's be honest. When we want to know about the machine, what is the first communication? That's the visual. When you see the machine, okay? So we are using a lot of visual devices which makes machine communicate with clarity, with great communication, and instantly, all right? So it's the indication and illumination which makes a powerful communication, which makes it a powerful language, a language of light, colors, and signal without speaking a single word. So this is more than just an automation. This is like industrial efficiency. So that's what we're going to see today, how using these devices, which are visual devices, can make machine speaks more clearly. So we're going to explore many devices today. Some of them I have it on my table that I can show you shortly, a product demo, and then I will explore all these devices one by one to show you how you can use it in your process if you want your machine to speak smartly. All right, so let's begin with a small demo. So you can see that on my screen, I have a product demo in which you can see there's a distance coming on a display. And as soon as I move my display, it is connected to the sensor, which is on the top. The sensor is measuring the distance. And as this distance increases more than 100, you can see a lot of lights are blinking. And this blinking of light is telling something is wrong. And as soon as the sensor value is less than 100, then it's all green. Okay, so this is like an instant communication. And on top of that, just you can see there are three devices where you can also acknowledge the signal. So it's not just visually giving some lights and colors, it's also you can interact with these devices to acknowledge the signal. So it's like two-way communication. They are talking to you, they want you to do something, and you go there and you acknowledge that. And that's how you can make your machine works a little bit smartly than other visual signals, which are like a very standard one. So to understand in more detail, let's understand how the visual signals are evolved. So if you see the evolution of visual signals, we had initially simple status, which are just classical red, yellow, and green, which are just turning on and off, just like a traffic light. So you know the machine is running, or if it's in maintenance, or if it's stopped. And then comes some advanced status, in which you have some blinking of these signals, or you have some level monitoring of these signals. This was like a bit advanced. And then there are some operator guidance signal in which you need an acknowledgement from the operator. So not only they just illuminate, you can also press it to acknowledge that. And on top of that, you can also visualize the process. You can visualize if there is something going on in the process, if the level is increasing or decreasing, for example, or you can see the efficiency of your system, or you can also monitor the pressure or the speed, or you can also monitor the gauge values of anything that you want. You can monitor that now. This is like process visualization. This is how the signals are being evolved. And you can see the same in your daily life as well. You can see it in your cars, how the blinkers were used before to turn left and right, and how they are now animated to move left and right. So we are evolving these signals to make a communication in a better way. So why not to do that same in the shop floor? And these devices help you to do that, okay? So we need to today level up the advanced status. We need to make the system communicate clearly using these devices, okay? And that's why the concept of Visual Factory came. So Visual Factory is the usage of lights, indicators, and signals to enhance communication and which increase efficiency, which increase productivity, because if you visualize that there's something wrong in the machine, you can immediately react on that instead of going to the machine and checking the HMI what's going on. All right, so you can see that I have a small example here. We have an idle state in which the machine is green. We have an error state in which the machine is having a display which is red, and we have a run state in which there is no lights. It's just normal light. Okay, so these visual tools enhance communication, boost efficiency, like I said, and improve productivity across the shop floor. So now let's see some key applications for this visual elements. One is sensor emulation. You can see that on the left side we have a tank, and there's a sensor on the top. And as the sensor is reading the signal, because of the level, you have an indicator next to it, which is telling you what's the level of your tank. Okay, so it's not just telling you if it's low or high, it's actually telling you the real-time status of your tank. That's like emulating what's the level of the tank using this indicator. On the right side, you have a process status. You can also see this is a tower light, which indicates real-time updates on machine health, production progress, or error using multicolor light. So this light can change the colors. It's not just green, red, or yellow. You can have orange, you can have blue, and you can make the meaning of these colors. Okay, so these are two typical applications. And not only that, you also have picture light and put to light. So picture light is basically used when you're doing some packaging. So you have some illumination above a storage box. And this means you have to go there, pick the object, there's a number on the display, and you pick it, and then you acknowledge that. This is like pick to light. And similar to is also put to light as well. And on the right side, you can see there's a loading dock and bay communication. And you can see if not, there's a strip light on the right side, which is showing you how close is this truck to the door or to the wall. So this will give you an indication how much you have to move back and front, right? This is helping you to coordinate with the drivers. So things are getting very advanced nowadays to make things easy and to make your whole communication clearly, okay? So coming back to what I said in the beginning, illumination plus indication is a great communication. On top of that, you can also add process visualization. So process visualization using illumination and indication makes communication better, clear, and which is helping you to make better decisions on the shop floor. All right, now let's talk about the brain of the system. All right, so we have several devices on the shop floor we are using on the machines, but we need to send the signals to them. We need to read the signal from them. For that, I'm using Olink Master. So the Olink Master from Banner that I'm using is called DXMR 110 8K Olink Master. Now this is an 8-port Olink Master, which has standard M12 connector. So this master you can also see on my screen. Here I have this live demo. This is an Olink Master. This is already connected to several devices from Banner. All right, so this is working on nominal 18 to 30 VDC, and it supports Ethernet IP, Profinet, and MODBUS TCP. So not only you can program this device inside it, you can also connect that to your existing PLC controllers or edge device, and you can send the signals to it. You can also read the signal from that. All right, so I'm going to show you a small example in the end where I'm using an edge device to read-write the values from this Olink Master. All right, this will come in the end. So this Olink Master can be configured using two softwares. So the software that I'm using, or I'm going to show you today, is Olink Configurator. This is a software in which you can read-write the parameters. You can play around with the values, with the process values. And another software is called DXM. In DXM configuration software, you can actually write a logic. If you've seen my last video on snap signal using Banner devices, you have seen how I'm using this DXM configuration software to write the value in one of the controller, which was Modbus based. All right, so you can check out this video to learn more about how you can write the logic inside. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the concept of Visual Factory. All right, so these are the two software that you can use. And if I show you this software, if I go to here, generic, and this is my Olink controller. You can go to the port setup and you can define the ports. If you want to enable it, disable it, if you want to automatically turn it on. And you can see that on the top, I have several I/O devices. These are automatically be detected because I have connected these devices. So the moment you connect the device, it will automatically be detected by this Olink Master. It will download the IODD file from the internet, and it will show you how you can configure that here right away without doing any manual work. All right. So now I'm going to jump to the first device we're going to talk about today. So let's skip to the next slide. This is WLS27 Pro light strip with IO-Link. All right, this light strip can be used to indicate the status of a machine. This is a typical application, but you can also use it as a level mode, as a gauge mode, as a segment mode. All right, so let's see 3 tiny examples which I created for you. First one is the run mode. I'm using a run mode to show if the object is closer to the sensor or far away or in between. So you can see that I have this object. When it is way too close to my device, it's blinking red. If it's in the middle, it is orange. If it's completely far away, then it's green. So kind of like a signal which is telling you if the object is safe as from the distance from the sensor, if it's very close or not close or far away. So this is like a typical indication in a run mode. You can also use this device in a level mode. You can see that on the right side. In the level mode, you have a tank, which I'm just simulating this value on Node-RED. So when the tank level is 100%, the light strip is showing 100%. If it's less, it is showing less. And you can also see that how the color is being changed. If it's more than, let's say, 65% or 77%, which you can configure, it is showing red. If it's in between, it's showing yellow, or if it is less, it's showing green. All right, so you can play around with what color you want at a different level. And then along with that, you also have a gauge mode. In gauge mode, it's quite similar to the level mode, but here you can see that we have a tiny gauge in the center of the strip, just moving left and right. All right, so this is how you can use this strip light for 3 different applications. So now let's see live how you can change the parameters of the strip light. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to show you my camera here, and I'm going to open up my software, which is Olink configurator. And here I just have to click on port number 1. And here, port number 1, you can see I have generic, I have these process data, and I have parameters. All right. So if you see in the parameters, the mode selection is right now on the level mode. So in the level mode, if I go to my process data now, right now it's 0. If I put here some value, let's say I put 20, and I click on write, you can see that it's 20% on, 20% green light. I hope you can see. If not, I can also change the color of this light. So if I go to the parameters, and if I see my level mode settings, here, this is my background color, but level base settings, I have a steady animation. I can change that to red, and let's write it. Now it is turned red. So you can see that how quickly it's easy to change the parameter of your device. And right now the animation is steady. I can also make it flash. And now this will be flashing red. And the background is white color. Okay. So you can see you have 2-color flash, 2-color shift. This is like an end steady, end flash, scroll, center scroll. So many different ways to configure this device. So I will not go too much into detail, but I'm just showing you the possibility of showing the signal visually. And now if I make that, let's say, 60 and press right, then the level is 60. Okay, so you can play around with different modes. So let's take another mode, 2-color flash. And the color 1 is red and color 2 is green. So let's write it. And now it should be blinking green and red. Okay, so this is how, so you just need to change the process value here, and it will just keep on blinking. And then you can for sure make it steady as well. Okay, so you can use any controller to control how it should react based on the sensor signal, or you can use the logic running inside of this device as well. Both ways you can do that. So there are different ways to operate. Now we have seen the run mode. There's also segment mode. In segment mode, this will be split into 3 segments. And now if I go to process data, you can see that there are multiple segments, but only the 3 segments will be used. So I can turn on the segments and I can turn off the segments. So now when I turn it on, you can see that it's green light. And if I turn on second segment, right now it's a yellow light. And if I turn on third segment, it will be green light. So you can also change the color of these segments. Okay, this is by default. I was playing around, so it's green, yellow, and green. So I can turn it off as well. This is a simple segment mode. If I go to parameter again, you can see there is a segment mode, run mode. There's a level mode, and there's a dim and blend mode, gauge mode, LED mode, and demo mode. Okay, so there are different modes of operation. So I will come to that software again and again when we talk about different devices, but the idea is to tell you the customization of your devices. It's very easy using the software, and you have multiple ways to indicate your process. All right. So this was about WLS27 Pro light strip with IO-Link. Jumping to the next device, WLF12 flexible strip light. Same as the old one, but this is more flexible. You can move it the way you want. You can put it on device. Like for example, you can see that we have an AGV, and when AGV is close to an object, the color is changing. When it's green, it's in safe zone. If it's red or orange, it's a warning zone or a dead zone or a super dangerous zone. So you can imagine different zones. So let me show you a small example for that. So I've also created an example using the sensor here. So the sensor is measuring the distance between the box and the sensor. As the box is being moved, the color of the light will change. You can see that now it's blinking red. Okay, so this is just a tiny example. You can do multiple ways to control this flexible strip light. Jumping back to my demo, so here I can again show you. So this was my port number 2. So I will jump now to port number 2 over here. So here you can see that by default, if I go to mode selection, this is in run mode. Okay, so this is a run mode. You can have message mode, measure mode, timer mode. Oh, sorry, this is not port number 2. My bad. This is port number 3. This is a different device. Here you go. So here we have parameters. We have a mode selection, and this is right now in run mode. So in run mode, if I go to process data, animation is off. I can click on steady, and I can click right. So right now it's red light. Okay. So if I change here to flash, it will now flash red. It's flashing red, right? And if I change that to 2-color flash, I have red as my first color, green as my second color, and intensity is, I can just keep it low for the camera, and now it will be blinking green and red, right? Super easy. If I, let's say, do a scroll mode, this is now red, so it should be scrolling. You can see that now the red dot is scrolling, okay? Another way to play around with the animation. So let's see another mode, which is, let's say, a bounce mode. What is a bounce mode? Let's see a bounce mode. Now it's going one end, now it's bouncing back and forth. Okay, this could be just to show that the machine is getting ready, or some kind of signals you can show with this kind of animation. And then you have intensity sweep. If I write this, now it will change the color with a sweeping effect. Okay, so this is one way. You can have two color sweep, which is red and green. Now it will sweep between red, yellow, and green. Okay, this is how the sweeping is doing the RGB combinations. So these are the different modes of operation for this strip light, and I can also make that into a segment mode, just like the old device. This can be also in a segment mode. I will not go in detail. Then you have a level mode, gauge mode, LED mode, dim and blend mode. So there are different modes of operation we have seen. So you can imagine putting this light somewhere where you can flexibly cover that area. Okay, this was a flexible strip light. All right, moving on. We have several devices today. So next one is programmable tower light. Now this is the tower light which you might have seen in a traditional way, where you have green, red, yellow, or red, yellow, green, right? This is just to turn on and off. This is more programmable, which you can use it as a level. You can use it as a segment mode, or you can also use it just for completely green and red. Okay, so let's see different modes of operation. But before that, I'm going to show you some tiny examples that I made with this tower light. So this is, again, I'm working with a sensor. When the sensor is too close to the box, or when the box is too close to the sensor, it's blinking red. As soon as I move my box, so this is kind of like a level mode. Now it's increasing the level, and now you can see that it's orange. And if I move it far away, it's now turning green, which means now it's a safe distance. So this is a tiny example of programmable tower light. I'm showing it in a level mode. So let's jump to our live demo, and I'm going to show you how we can control different parameters. So this one is connected to, if you see my light here, this is connected to port number 4. So port number 4 is over here. So TL50. That's my light. Right now you can see that there are a lot of parameters, because this is currently in advanced segment mode. Okay, there is a simple basic segment mode and advanced. Let's see the basic first, just to make it a bit simpler. In the basic segment mode, you can see that I have just segment information, and I can turn on and off. So if I turn it on, segment 1, I write. You can see that segment 1 is on with some pink light, close to pink. And then I can turn on segment 2, click on write. Now this is orange. It looks a little bit yellow on the camera, but it's orange. And if I turn on segment 3, this is white light. So it's a very simple basic segment mode. If I go to parameters now, let's switch to advanced segment mode, because in the advanced segment mode, you can define the colors. You can define how it should be on. Blinking mode, or it's some animation mode. So let's see, right now it's segment 1 color is green, intensity is high, I keep it low, animation is off, let's make it steady, and speed is medium, I don't want to change the speed. Pulse pattern is normal, color 2 is green and high. So let's just write this one now. So it's the steady green one, segment 1. Now let's play around with the segment 2. Segment 2, I want it red, intensity I keep it low, animation I say I make it flash, speed is medium, that's fine, let's write it. Now this is blinking red. Okay, so these segment on and off, which I'm doing here on the software, you can just send the true and false signal, or you can send an integer value to control the segments. Okay, this is just, I'm showing you the possibilities. And let's segment 3, let's play around. So segment 3, I will keep it orange, and I want intensity low, animation, now I want 2 color flash. So second color is orange, intensity I make it low. So this is now going to flash green and orange. So fast, you can configure that. So you can see that there are different ways to use each segment on your tower light. Okay, this was the advanced segment mode. Anyways, let's move on to the level mode, which is the easiest one to configure. Just write the parameters, and now here you can put the data. What is the level you have? You can put, let's say, 40, and press enter, and now it's showing orange automatically. Okay, if I put here 10, you can see the color will change, because there are some thresholds defined inside. So now it's blinking red. If I make it, let's say, 100, the level is 100%, it will be green. So you don't have to do anything. It's already doing it inside, because there are some parameters which are defined for that. So in the parameters, maybe you can see this was level mode configuration. Here you can see all the parameters. I can expand that. Full scale value is 100. That's why the range from 0 to 100. Base color is orange. Intensity is low. The base rate is steady. this is the threshold value. So when the value is between 0 to 10, it will be red and it will be flashing. Okay, these parameters are defined here. High threshold value, when the value is more than 60, it will be green and it will be steady. Okay, so these are the parameters that you can play around and define where it should blink, where it should be steady, what color it should be. So this was about this tower light, and there are for sure different modes of operation that you can play around with. All right, so moving on to the next device. Okay, the next device is multicolor touch button. Now you might have seen such kind of buttons on pick to light. You might have seen it put to light as well. But this button is a bit special. It shows a display. You can change the color. You can change the animation of the color. And you have two buttons to play around with. All right, so let me show you two examples that I made before. So the first example is displaying the sensor distance on the device. So you can see that right now there's 130, 121, 97, and there's a box moving behind me. So in this example, you see the sensor distance on the display. On top, you can also see this animation of the color. So when the distance is getting less, you can see it's getting red more. If the distance is increasing, it's getting green. I just made a small demo for that. So you can play around with the colors on this device. You can also change the distance or display, what number it should display. And then there are two buttons on top of that. The example of button is coming shortly. So in the next slide, now you can see that example of a button. This is used as a 30-second timer. So as soon as I press the button, it starts a 30-second timer. This is just a tiny application to show the possibility of this device. So it is count down from 30 seconds, and based on the time, it is also showing how much time is left. So not only you see the display, you can also see the color from a distance. Okay, what's going on? This could be one of the applications where which can show the cycle time of your process. If it is completed, if it's started, or if it's in between, or if it's stuck. So you can see that on the display. Okay, so these are the two buttons that can be used as input from the user. So let's see this display shortly in our demo. So I will open up my PLC, my camera, and there is your Olink configurator. Now this button is connected to my port number 6. Okay, so port number 6 is over here. And that's my button. So you can see that the output state area, right now both are 0. This is showing you which sensor has been triggered. So if I press on this button here, you can see one of them is now turned to 1. This is giving me the signal. If I press the other one, I should get the 1 on the other one, right? So this is like reading the feedback, reading the input from the user. And here you can see that the animation type is off. I can make it steady. And if I make it steady, right now, it's just showing you a green. I hope you can see it, right? So this is a green color because the color one is green, intensity is high. I can make it low for the intensity, and let's write the value. Now it's green. I hope it's suitably being visible. So this is right now in the steady mode. You can also do two color flash, and you can make red and green flash here. So now you can see that it's flashing green and red so fast. Now if you want to display some value, back to 0. This is in string mode. So when I write 566, it should show me the value. Now you can see that number 566 on the display, right? So this is on the SKY mode. So if I go to the parameters, you can see that the modes of operation. Here we can see operating mode. This is in advanced mode. You can have a multicolor mode. You can have forced at full logic, LED control, or you can have a demo mode. So different modes of operation, and you can for sure read the manual of this device and see what this mode means. Then you can see which mode fits best to your application. So here you can just see the process data, how you can change it, and what I was using it in my example here on the background. I think I was using the animation type as a sequence. So in a sequence, I was just changing the LED sequence when it should start, when it should stop. And using the sequence mode, I was able to achieve this animation that you can see on my screen. Okay, so this was about multicolor touch button, which not only display information, but you can also do some acknowledgement to do some kind of operations. All right, moving on. Next one is K50 Pro with touch. Okay, this is just an indicator with a touch feedback. You can imagine that being used in an application. For example, you can see on my screen, there's a box that arrives and you do some operation on that box. So this color will illuminate to show you that from a distance that the box has arrived. Do something, and once you're done, just acknowledge that, and then the box might go away. Okay, so let's show a small example. Here I have two videos to show how you can use this. The first one is you have the right is white light, and I put the box there, which means it's green now to show that you have to do something with the box. And now once you're done, just acknowledge that it's turning orange and back to white light. And if you press this button without box, it will illuminate red to show that, hey, I was not supposed to be touched yet. Okay, so now again, once again, the box is there, the color is green, so you do some operation. When the box is gone, you acknowledge that, hey, I did my work, and it's saying orange to acknowledge that, and back to white for the next task. Okay, the next video is the same video, but just to show you that you can also use this button with some gloves. So if you're wearing a glove, you can still use this button. So it's you can change the sensitivity of this button just to show you that it's not just your finger touch, you can also touch it with your gloves as well, but the same operation. This was K50 Pro touch device. Okay, similar to that, we have another device, K50 Pro with opto sensor. In the last device, you have to touch it, and here you have a sensor which will also tell you the distance between your hand and distance between the sensor as well. All right, so similar application with that. I have, again, sensor is the device is turned white, the box arrives, it turns green, tells you to do something. Once you're done, just acknowledge it with a hand without touching it. And you can also see this is something you can also use here. This is like a pick to light operation. So it will show you that you have to pick from here. You just pick it and you take your hand back. So automatically the sensor signal got activated and it knows that you have done the operation. All right, so this is the same application here. Here I'm just acknowledging using my hand. Okay, all right, moving on. We have K50 Pro Indicator. Now this is just an indicator, but it is a very smart indicator or a special indicator which has different way to illuminate. So it's not just green, red, yellow, for sure. You can imagine that as well, but it can also have some animation. Okay, so right now on my screen, you can see you can use this indicator on different devices. You can use it on AGVs. You can use it just to indicate if a process is running or not. You can indicate if there's a warning or there's an error. You can blink it as well. But let me show you a small interesting application. Here you can see it's right now white, and which means it's powered up. And then it's warming up. It's warming up with the indication of orange and green, kind of like a very cool indication to show that the system is warming up, or the system is initializing, or the process is running, or it's heating up. And when it's ready, it will be green. All right, so it's a cool way to use this device. It's not just on and off. You can show some animation as well. And if you want to see this device, for sure, I can show you all these devices now all together because these are belonging to the same category. So I go to my Olink configurator. Let's go to activate my camera. And now here you can see I have these three devices here. This is with the touch. This is just an indicator, and this is with the sensor. Okay, these devices. Now let's come to first the one with the touch. You can see this is connected to port number 5. So I will go to my port number 5. This is K50 PSTKQ, and this is my output state. So when I press this button, you can see this will turn on 1. This is giving me a feedback. When I release it, will go back to 0. Animation type is right now off. I can keep it steady, and right now it's unsteady, and the color one is green. If I write, this will be just green. Okay, simple. And if you want, you can also have a flash, and you can make it red and click on write. Now it will be flashing bright. Okay, you can change the rate of flashing. Right now it's flashing slow. I can make it fast and click on write. Now it's flashing fast. So there are different ways of flashing, and there is a different meaning of flashing. Flashing low means something else. Flashing fast means there's something critical going on. Come and help me. So there are different ways to control this LED device. And it also has a sequence mode, just like I've shown you the sequence mode in the last example with K50. It can also be turned on individual lights around it. Okay, so different modes of operation, and for sure you can also have this application 50/50 rotate, which is just showing in the background. You can also do that on this device. So if I write now, I think it should be working. Now you can see that it's rotating. Okay, you can see that it's green and orange rotating signals. Not clearly seen on the camera because of the illumination, but you can imagine it's working great. So this was about the touch. And now if I go to my another device, which is over here, which is port number 8. So port number 8 is with the sensor, this one here. So this is giving you right now the sensor value. It's 1001. If I bring my finger next to it, you should see it's 25 millimeter distance between, I think, my finger and this sensor. Okay. And if I touch this one or just bring it closer, you can see its output state is, let me just try to put my hand. So this is showing you the distance, and the output state might have some threshold value. Now it is 1. So it has a threshold that the distance should be, let's say, x, then the output state will be 1, not when you are totally touching it. That's the different output state. But you can configure that as well. And here, the parameters are quite same. You have animation direction, animation pattern, animation time, similar to my K50 Pro display. And if you go to the parameters, for sure, you have different modes of operation. You have multicolor, advanced, LED control, distance mode, coarse distance. You can read the matter and you can learn more about that. So it has a different way to configure this device. And this is also perhaps same for this device with the touch and with these ones. The only difference is here you need to touch. Here you have a sensor. And this is just the display here. So this one, if I see it's connected to port number 7, and port number 7, I can go here and I can, let's do some intensity sweep, or we can do a color sweep, just showing you the different possibilities. So this will be orange, and let's make intensity low. There you go, low and right. Now it has an intensity sweep. You can see that it's changing the colors and with a different animation. So all these are the devices that you can easily connect to your Olink master, and you can show different kinds of illumination based on the sensor signal. Now, coming up to our last device, the main one. This is the display device. This is SD50 status display. This device can be used to display a message. This message can be any message that the machine wants to tell you. It can be a warning status. It can be the process status. It can be the step of operation. It can be the user information. Okay, and this is working on Olink for sure. 18-96 pixel. It has a white display LEDs, and it's working on 18-30 voltage. And it's very easy to control that. So let's see some examples that I created, and then I will show you a live demo. So okay, some examples here. You can use it on your machine. So on the left side, you can see it's showing process and cycle. And not only the message, you also have these lights on the left and right. You can use these lights for some meaningful information. For example, the first image here, it shows that you have to pick on the right side, not on the left side. So you can use these lights intelligently to show you what you have to do next. Don't go left, go right. And here is just the status, A3 shelf to bin 7. Maybe it's just like pick 2 light status, all right? So I have made a tiny example with this light, 3 examples. One is displaying measurements with warning. So here again, I have a sensor, and it's showing the distance between the sensor and the box. So as this box is moving away, you can see that it's blinking red and green now, and it's showing you the distance as well on the display. Okay, this is just showing the sensor value with warning. Second is displaying the counts. So here you can see that I have just using the counts. I'm just using a dummy random numbers, or not the random numbers, but the count numbers, which is incrementing fast. Okay, workpiece count. You can show as a count as well, show your production. And the last one is displaying the sensor count. Here I'm just showing you when the sensor is triggered, then you have the value increase. So for sure, you can also send the values without sensor. You can send the value from the PLC. You can send the value from your robot. You can also use it in a cobot application in which you have a cobot, and cobot wants to tell you something. You can put a display on top, and then you can display the message which cobot wants to tell a human, that you can work together in a flexible way. Okay, so these are the 3 different typical applications. Now let's jump on to a live demo, turning on the camera, bringing up my Olink configurator over here. So now this display is connected to port number 2. So let's stick to port number 2, which is over here, SD50. And right now, this is in run mode. If I go to my process data, you can see that animation is off. So if I take animation steady, color 1 is green. And let's put the message. The message is Visual Factory. Press enter and then write. And now you can see that the message Visual Factory with this green indication. Oh, this is showing you upside down, but I hope you can read it easily. And the animation could be flash. Now this is green, and intensity I can put low. I can put a flash red and press right. Now it's flashing with the red light. And I can also put here level low. So you can imagine when you have an error message, level is low, it's flashing. Right? If you can say flashing with the speed fast, I can write here level, I hope I can fit all these text, critically low. Okay, not showing everything, but you can imagine you can have a message with high blinking rate as well, which is much more urgent to take care of. So this was one of the mode I'm working right now. And you can see in the parameter mode, you have message mode, measure modes, timer mode, and counter mode. So you have seen my examples that I was using in my slides. There are some modes I was using a counter mode. You can also use a timer mode in which you can put the time, and this will increment and decrement the time. You can use a measure mode to measure some signal directly coming from the sensor for the measure mode. Message mode if you want to just put some message. So let's go to the message mode just to show some different modes, and I'll write this parameter. Now if I come to process data, now you can see that the message selection is there, 0 and 0. So right now it's both 0. So if I see my message mode settings, I have this message reset, false, stop, start. So here I can just send the number, which is 1, and 1 will give me reset. You can see that now the reset is here because this was already defined here. Second will be fault. So here I can put 2, press enter, write, and then it will show me fault. And if you want to configure this message as well, you can put a steady and maybe a red light, and this will have a fault with the red lights around it. Okay, so this is how you can pre-configure your message. Just send the integer number to show that message. So you can imagine you can have a step control of a process or maybe a robot. What is robot doing in step number 1, step number 2, step number 3? For example, going to home position, going to pick position, pick up the object, now going to the deliver position, drop the object, coming back to the home position. These are the different steps that you can put on a status display with a cobot, so you can see what the robot is doing. And if your robot has a fault, you can also show a fault message and blink up this red light so that user can see from the distance that there is some fault which he needs to fix. All right, so this was about all the devices that I was able to use with IO-Link Master and able to show the different modes of communication. The light communication, visual communication, using different colors and different showing some visual parameters or the measurements or the status of the machine, right? Let's go down, and finally I'm going to show you a demo that I created. And here you can see in much better clear light because I had to use a different camera. And here in the demo you can see I have a sensor, and if the sensor is good enough distance with this display, it's showing green, and as the distance is more than 100, you can see that everything goes red and blinking to show you that there is some error, something is going wrong, come and fix that. So the user will come, fix the distance or whatever the level it is. Some of the lights will be green, self-acknowledged, but some needs to be acknowledged. So there the user will go to these indicator and acknowledge the signal. All right, so this was the final thing I wanted to show you. And just to show you how I have done that, because this needs a lot of programming, I was doing it using Node-RED. So I have this software running in the background. I have disabled that right now. But here you can see that I have different nodes which are communicating to my IO-Link Master via Modbus. So these nodes can be configured. And you just need to put the IP address of your IO-Link Master over here. And then you need to define the Modbus address over here. And then you can just make a tiny logic and send the numbers. If you want, I can put this code into the description of the video. You can read that in your own time. All right. So this is about Visual Factory and how to use devices from Banner, how to use IO-Link Master to show the message of the machine clearly and intelligently. So in the end, I would say the power of Visual Factory, seeing is knowing. You can see this is a factory, and you can see which lights are red, which are green. And by that, you can clearly see the message, which machine needs servicing, which machine needs maintenance, which machine needs more users or more attention, which will reduce the downtime and improve the communication and enhance the productivity of a machine. All right, this was the concept, Visual Factory. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Please comment if you like the video, which part did you like the more, or what kind of content would you like to see in the future. I'll be happy to make more videos. So, all right, have fun. Ciao, ciao.